Hello and welcome to Voice It with me, Winnie Kabintie. This is the platform where we empower the youth in media and information literacy so that you can be active citizens. Today I have an amazing guest on set and I can't wait for you guys to meet him. His name is Peter Fredrick Mo and he is the founder of Stand Up Shout Out, also known as Suso, and he'll be telling us more about youth empowerment and his recent appointment as Honorary Warden in the Southern Conservation Area. Come with me. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? So nice to meet you. So welcome to Voice It, Peter Moll.
Thank you very much.
I'm so happy to host you.
And I'm happy that you're here.
So you're this dynamic person. I think you're the most dynamic young people that I've met.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that you're also a fellow of the top 35 and 35 awards. Mm-hmm. So you'll be telling us more about that. But just to kick it off, just tell us in a nutshell who Peter Moll is and what you do and why you do it.
So my name is Peter Fredrick Mo. I am a Kenyan, but I'm also mixed race. I am from the Maasai and Kikuyu community and also British. But more than that, I am a change maker. I'm a dreamer doer. I'm someone who believes in the power of youth. The power of youth is to be positioned and harnessed and empowered and respected in order to secure our future. I do what I do because I believe that we all have dreams. I'm sure you have it.
Oh yes.
Yes. And so our dreams need a tomorrow. And tomorrow can only be secured by our actions today. Our actions through nature, humanitarian work, through social change. We have to secure tomorrow so that our dreams can exist. What I do really is about putting youth and positioning them in society in a place where they can make a difference, where they can be game changers and change makers, whether it is in governance, whether it is in humanitarian work, whether it's wildlife conservation, biodiversity work, sports, music, culture, and arts. Like you said, we're dynamic. And the reason we're dynamic is because youth, we're unique. You can't put us in a box. So if you say that you're doing youth work, really you have to give young people the opportunity to express themselves, an opportunity to apply their knowledge, and an opportunity to be part of the solution.
Great. And speaking about youth and your passion for the youth, you're actually the founder of Suso. Could you please tell us more about that and what you guys do?
So I started Stand Up Shout Out in 2013, January 18. I was uncomfortable. Now when you're uncomfortable, you have two options, to change or to hide. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy to hide. It's so easy to just be normal. It's so easy to cheza chini. But I decided that I'm going to change. So I started Stand Up Shout Out. Stand up means, what do you stand for? What do you believe in? What do you safeguard? What are your values? And shout out, sikalele tupu. It is about positive, solution-oriented action. We have two pillars in Stand Up Shout Out: youth empowerment and youth engagement. Youth empowerment is about giving young people the skills, the mentality, the understanding that they can be solutions, that they can be part of society.
So I like the aspect and actually how you are differentiating between youth empowerment and youth engagement. But I think that's important.
So we have many different platforms in our engagement, right? Mm-hmm. So from wildlife conservation to biodiversity conservation, humanitarian work, education, music, culture and arts, sports, you name it. Like I said, dynamic.
And I like the aspect about, engaging the youth and not just leaving them at the point of empowerment. Because right now, there's so much talk about youth empowerment. Yes, we try and empower people, but when you don't give them the platforms to, live it up, then it becomes a bit baseless and even frustrating.
And let me tell you one thing. Mm-hmm. It's because we're difficult. The government see that we're difficult. People feel the youth are difficult. So they don't have the passion, the patience, and the persistence to engage young people. It's not easy. See, Raisi, this is not easy. Youth engagement is not easy. Yeah. But if you're passionate about it and if you understand why you're doing it and you understand who you're doing it for, you're doing it for you and you're doing it for them and you're doing it for a better future. As long as you keep it clear like that, then you go and you be persistent, passionate, and purposeful. Yeah, so it's really important that you don't just empower, but you engage.
What are some of your biggest impacts that you have to date?
You're sitting in one of my biggest impacts that I have to date, which is this center and library. It's a space, it's a home. I've always preached that youth need a space. Because, you know, we're the type of youth who have gone to conferences, workshops. After you go to that conference and workshop, then you go back home. You go back to your community. There's no home or space for your mentality. There's no home and space for how you think and how you've been empowered. Youth need that home and space. So apart from this physical space, we also have divisions in over 39 counties. These are spaces where young people, after they've been empowered, after they've experienced, they can maintain that growth. And that is so important. Personally, some of my awards that I've gotten, like recognition from the First Lady Margaret Kenyatta for my mentorship. We do work at PURES, which is People's Reward Scheme at State House. From the work we're doing in wildlife conservation, we've opened doors for young people in terms of the National Wildlife Strategy 2030, where we lobbied the government for the Mabingwa component, which is the youth component in the strategy, and the National Tourism Blueprint. I think creating space at Kenya Wildlife Service for young people in different avenues and structured, meaningful engagement. I also was able to go to CITES, which is the Convention of International Trade of Endangered Species. This is basically a mukutano where people say, do we trade rhino or do we not? So we have to go there and fight and say, no, don't trade because of XYZ. So we did a lot. We stopped the trade in rhino horn and in ivory, and I was on the government delegation, the first youth representative on a government delegation, and the first youth serving organization. So that was quite a milestone. And I think building communities is also something I can say. And having youth on the ground in 39 counties is quite an achievement. Like right now, I can make a phone call and have people doing things in 39 counties just like that.
And I understand that you're also global. It's not just an organization in Kenya. Tell us more about that.
Suso is based in 39 counties. So in those counties, we organize youth into groups. And that group becomes a division. So Suso Laikipia division, Suso Nairobi division. And these organized groups have structure. And so organized, meaningful, structured engagement is what we want on the ground. And also, it allows us to have the capacity of implementation. We have a saying in Suso, mobilize, organize, and implement. And so that is what we are doing. So in the 39 counties, and then we're also based in 20 countries worldwide. And so those countries also do and replicate what we're doing. But each area, for example, what they're doing in Mombasa Suso and what they're doing in Nairobi Suso is similar but different, because they have to tailor make it to fit the demographic and geographic location.
Exactly.
And that is very important.
That is really great. So you were just recently appointed as an Honorable Warden in the Southern Conservation Areas by the Cabinet as Secretary for Tourism. So tell us more about that role and what exactly that you'll be doing.
So I also was just appointed as an Honorary Warden of the Southern Conservation Area, which is like Amboseli, Nairobi, that area, and so that's quite a big achievement. That was just this year. For me, it's quite a special recognition, because one, it's recognizing what me and my team are doing, recognizing the effort that we put in protecting, mitigating, and restoring our biodiversity and our wildlife, and it is hope. And one thing right now is something that is very expensive is hope. So it means a lot that the government recognizes young people on our own, and that it's given us the opportunity to do more and be more. Now we're able to go into these parks and stand tall and do more and do it all. So I really believe that it's dignified. It brings a lot of dignity, a lot of hope, and it means a lot. I mean, you do this years and years, and you do it with your heart and your passion. To be recognized gives you that encouragement. You can't lie. It gives you that encouragement and gives you more fire.
That's great. And now that you've mentioned parks and your current role as a Honorable Warden, what's your opinion regarding the issue about privatization of parks?
Politics. That's politics. No one ever mentioned privatization of parks. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is what you call social media down the rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. Public-private partnerships is the future, right? In all aspects or all sectors, they have public-private partnerships. The government is to create a conducive environment for us to conduct our business. And so we need to understand that even what we do as an organization and other organizations do with KWS is a public-private partnership. So I think the main thing is how can we increase the protection of our wildlife, the mitigation of human-wildlife conflict, and the restoration of our habitats through public-private partnerships. How can we increase the management and help our government? That's it.
So does it mean that the government cannot deliver without a hand from the private sector? Or is it failing in its mandate?
It's very simple, and you're trying to drive a hard question, and I like it. I like it. You need to understand. This is one thing that I was taught. When I was 21 years old, I went to South Africa as a keynote speaker in KwaZulu-Natal. And this person called Dr. Ian Player, who saved the white rhino from extinction in South Africa. A month before he died, I met him when I went there, and he died a month later. You know what he told me? You conservationists, you scientists, you researchers, you activists, you passionate people, if you don't work with government or work in government, you're not going to do anything to save wildlife. It's not going to be enough. So it's not about the government not having enough. What do we want? What do you want for your wildlife? Jitume. Just come away. Go and do more and be more. Don't wait for the government to do what they need to do. Help them. It doesn't matter whether they have the capacity or not. Do you have the capacity? We can no longer sit by and wait for the generation before us to create a future without us. How can they create a future without us when we live in this future without them? So we have to be part and parcel of the solution. So for me, it's not a matter of, do the government have enough resources or capacity to do their job? No. Actually, one of the things we do is increase the capacity of governments, whether it's county, national, or international, to do what they need to do. It's not for them. I'm not helping Kenyan government for Kenyan government. I'm helping it for you and you.
Getting a seat on the table.
Getting not just a seat, a role, a structured engagement, a meaningful engagement to protect our future. People need to understand, don't help government for government, help government for you.
Oh, that's really interesting. So tell us more about Mabingwa and what's in it for the youth actually?
So Mabingwa component first started with the National Wildlife Strategy 2030, and it simply gave the youth a structured space to push for our agenda. And so right now we're now working to formalize that structured space within Kenya for youth. So we want to have a national youth platform within Kenya Wildlife Service and at the policy level within the ministry. That also helped push at CITES, which also now helped us push at the African Union Commission. So right now we're working at the African Union Commission with Mabingwa to also push Mabingwa in the AUC to have a youth space for biodiversity and wildlife. So the main thing that it is about creating the policy and the strategy to then bring the projects. So that's what's in it for young people, is that there will be the projects and the opportunities will now come because it's backed up by the strategy and then the policy.
Ah, great. And allow me to take you back a bit because one of our primary target audience who will probably watch this are young people. So for someone who is just looking at your role, your current role, your appointment role by the CS, Honorable Warden, what does it entail? What will you be doing on a day-to-day basis? Just paint a picture for us.
Yeah, so as Honorary Warden, I can arrest people who are poaching, who are doing bushmeat, who are doing things illegally. I have the power to arrest. And I found that very cool, so I thought you should know that I can arrest people. But mostly it's about building capacity. So in KWS, the senior warden is in charge of a park. So as an honorary warden, I'm able to work hand in hand with the senior warden, whether it's problematic animals, whether it's community engagement, whether it's conservation education, whether it's security, you name it. So it's about building the capacity in an official capacity. As an honorary warden, I also enter parks for free.
Can your friends get in for free as well?
No, we do not abuse our power. But if you have something like you want to come and do a feature, then I can allow you to come and highlight the importance of Nairobi National Park, Amboseli, and for sure we can have an arrangement. But it's about adding value. So being an honorary warden is how do you as an individual, in your capacity as an organization that you run or as a business that you run, how can you add value to the protection and management of our park? So that's really what it's about.
We have this misconception, and a lot of young people have that in order to serve in government, it has to be in these particular roles, either as an MP, MCA, or if you move on to the executive, maybe as a CS. So it's good for young people to understand that they can serve in very important roles based on their areas of interest, because this is what you do, this is what you love.
And I want to add, they don't have to be an MP to be in government. There's so many county committees, there's so many ministry committees. If you're good enough, they can't ignore you. If you're good at what you do, they can't ignore you. People always say, oh, you need connections. That's a lie. Connections, yes, they help. But if you're so good at what you do, you can't be ignored.
Actually, speaking about connections, let's talk about something that I consider more important, actually, and it paves way for these things people call connections, and that's the power of networking. And I'm sure that's something you've experienced even from running Suso. So tell us more about the power of networking and why it's important for young people.
So yeah, we were just talking about the power of relationships. And I think young people, the short-term insights, so that's, what is it called? The short-term visions that young people have, the quick wins that they want is what destroys their future. You need to understand that you need to build
future.
Yeah, build long-lasting connections, relationships. You meet someone, what do you have to offer? What value are you adding? And then what value are you getting? You build that relationship. There's someone I met in 2013 who nothing happened. No value, just conversation, a connection. But then 7 years later, they're one of our biggest friends. People who support you. So you need to understand that build that relationship with partners, with people around you, with the community, and that is going to be your strongest. They say your network is your net worth. But like I said, also being so good. Like I said, what value are you bringing?
Exactly.
Young people need to understand
it's
you need
not
to
about
bring
what
value.
you're getting.
What you bring will open every door. As young people, we just need to realize one thing. Tomorrow is not promised. Our future is not promised. But the one thing that we can do is secure it. We need to stop thinking about what we're getting and start understanding what we give. It's very hard. I know in this life, we're all about survival and maisha ni gumu. But you need to understand one thing. You serve your gift to the world and the world will open up to you. You understand that your dreams need a tomorrow and you'll understand how important your actions are today. You understand that clean air, oxygen, clean water, survival, our habitats, our forests, we secure that, we have a healthy planet and a healthy future. We're not doing this out of nothing. It's actually because if you love yourself, then you will ensure that you have a future. If you love your community, then you will ensure that you have a future. And if you have a dream, then you ensure that you secure that future. One thing I want to say is that you are worthy, you are important, you have what you need within you. You're created for a purpose and you need to put yourself and position yourself in order to grow. I am an important asset. The only difference between me and you is that you haven't realized that you are too.
You are true, you have it in you, and you can do this. So that has been so amazing and so powerful. And one of the key highlights that I've personally gotten from this interview is that it's about time as young people we stop looking at issues based on what's in it for me and what is it that you're getting from people or even from opportunities, and focus on what is it that you're offering. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to the channel as well. You can connect with Peter Moll through the social media handles that we're going to share right down here. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, click, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.